Assalamu alaikum everyone, I hope you're all doing well. So today we're going to be discussing a very important but simple concept regarding contraction and tension of muscle and length. So as you can see, here in front of us is a graph that represents the relationships between the tension of the muscle, its length, and its contractile tension or contraction or range of contraction. So before we jump into the questions, we need to understand what we see in front of us. The red line is the active contraction of a muscle. The blue line is the passive contraction of a muscle. And the area under the red line and the blue line shows the contractile strength or the level of contraction. So now that we have a general idea of what the graph is, we're going to take a look at the question regarding the graph. So here's the question regarding the graph. So the figure shows the isometric length-tension relationship. Match each of the following with what it represents on the graph. So the first option, or number one, they want us to see or mark which one or which letter on the graph represents the contraction-dependent tension or the active-dependent tension. So we'll go back to the photo. And again, they want us to understand or to know which one is the dependent tension or the active dependent tension. And as we've previously mentioned, this is the active contraction and this is the passive contraction. And we said that the area under them is the tension, the total tension of the muscle. So they want us to find the active dependent tension. So the active dependent tension is the tension formed by the sarcomeres or the actin and myosin alone. Therefore, the answer would be B. So let's understand why it's B. Because between the area under C is the passive tension, and the area under the red line and the blue line together is called the total tension. And the area between the red line and the blue line is the active dependent tension, and that's what they're looking for. So the question again asked to label which contraction is the dependent tension or the active dependent tension, and that's why it would be B. Now we're going to go to the second question. The second question is asking us to find the length at which the active tension is maximum. So we're going to go back to the photo. And I think this question is pretty obvious. So we look at the graph and we find the maximum point. And the maximum point is obviously this point. And we've previously mentioned this is the active tension. Therefore, at this point, we will have the maximum tension, which is length, letter E. Therefore, then the answer should be E, because the active tension is maximal at this point. Now we're going to go to the third question. The contribution of non-contractile muscle tissue to the total tension. Again, take your time while reading the question. The contribution of non-contractile muscle tissue to the total tension. And now think of what you just read. They want the non-contractile tension. So we said that this is the passive tension, and we said the area under the passive tension, the blue line, would be the total non-contractile tension. Therefore, the answer would be C. Now, before I end the video, I just want to revise something with you guys to clear any confusion or concept. The passive tension or the non-contractile tension are the fascia, the tendons, and the ligaments. These are called the non-contractile elements. That is why we call them the passive tension. The passive tension do not contain muscle contractile tissue. They just contract because of the muscle sarcomeres. So they don't have muscle cells. They're just extended or contracted due to the action of the active tension. That's why they're called the passive tension. And the red line, which is the active tension, is by the actin and myosin. So that's why we call it the active tension. And the maximal point is when the actin and myosin are the most overlapping. So when they're overlapping, their stages, and the final stage, when there can't be any more overlap because of the contraction, that is called the maximal active tension point, which is at letter E. If you guys, I really suggest that you do revise Dr. Rasul's lecture regarding this matter. His explanation is much better than mine, and hopefully I was able to help clear the concepts. Thank you.